Oh man, excuse me. Sorry guys, I don't mean to yawn like that. It's just, this game's gotten boring. There's no challenge left, nothing ever changes, I've run out of things to talk about. This game's gotten completely stale. I mean, I suppose we could talk about this today, this dev diary, this 9-page document detailing all of the ridiculous number of things, the changes, the updates, the improvements, everything coming to the contest, and some of it very soon. And when I say very soon, I mean like today soon and next week soon, some game changers. And each of which I'm going to be rating on this little scale rate here. From things that I think are going to be bad or maybe skeptical of if I think they're going to be good, to things that I'm just totally hyped about. So without further ado, man, let's just dig into this document. And I'm not going to read things word for word. We're going to skim through a bit, but we'll start out by reading the little intro here. It says, "Greetings, summoners. Design lead Kabam that Jim here again. After what feels like an age of Ultron since we last sat down." An age of Ultron? Ah, boo, man. In that time, the team has been busy delivering on the majority of the awesome things we announced last year. From new act content, a succession of back issues, alliance tools, node improvements, undo button, bonanza of champion updates, selling from stash. Oh, God, I love that feature, man. That might be the personal favorite of mine. A raft of incursion updates, and so much more in between. We didn't deliver on everything, though. Summer of pain, cough, cough. Development priorities change, your priorities change, and we evolve with the contest as it grows. However, some things haven't changed, and we're still hard at work on some of the awesome things we announced last time, many of which are that much closer to being in your hands. Last time out, we waxed lyrical about our vision and goals. Waxed lyrical. Okay, whatever that means. This time we're getting straight to the meat, so without further ado, let's dive into the first dev diary of 2021. Alright, let's start skimming through some of this stuff here. So, talking about the questing content first, let's see where it falls on my my little meter up here. So, Book 2, Act 1, which in my opinion should just be retitled as Act 7. I like the concept of Book 2, and keeping them separate, but honestly it just gets confusing and cumbersome when you're actually in the game itself. So I wish they would just lump those together again. Anyway, Chapter 2 is in May, and I don't think we have a release date in this document, but there was a leaked email that, I mean, it went out to everybody that signed up for emails with Kabam, which I think it said it was May 19th that was going to be the release date. But anyway, it says here, Gwenpool steals the center stage in Chapter 2, upset the meta. Armed with the Grandmaster's isosphere, Gwenpool seeks to reshape the contest into something bold and exciting, with new nodes, mechanics, and a wholly original final boss in the form of the deliriously awesome Grandmaster. Chapter 2 offers up a full plate of fresh challenges. So here she is, man. Here's Grandmaster in all her glory, wielding the isosphere just like Kabam said. Got quite the PI. Almost breaking into that million PI territory, getting close to it at least. Question, can we add Grandmaster to our roster? Probably not. Anyway, next up, Chapter 3, talking about, Act 7.3 here. So Chapter 3 is already underway with plans for new nodes, new bosses, and the return of the contest's oldest adversary. We're also bringing back, oldest adversary. Does that mean Kang? Is that who that is? We're also bringing back some of the nodes folks enjoyed in Chapter 1, paired up with some new challenges to keep story quests engaging for players. Stay tuned for our upcoming Chapter 3 beta, scheduled for summer of 2021. Okay, so on the hypo-meter up there, I just think this is cool. It's story content for me. It's no longer like the pinnacle, the peak difficulty of the contest. It doesn't challenge the way that it did in Act 6, and to be honest, I didn't play the 7.2 beta, but from what I saw, it looked like it still didn't really require us to have 6-star champions. It looked like 5-star champions were totally fine, and on the one hand, like, oh, that's good. That means our 5-star champions are still valuable, and on the other hand, it means, well, we don't really have a reason to even go after new champions, to collect new champions, to get them as 6 stars and rank them up. It doesn't really matter too much. So act content hasn't really hyped me up the same way that that it has in the past. That said, as far as like the Grandmaster goes, just getting more unique bosses like this, I'll bump that up to a hyped. Overall, it's kind of both cool and hyped. You know, it's somewhere in the middle of those. But just any kind of unique fights like this, like, yeah, man, that's super cool. All right, moving on. Back issues. Hey folks, Kabam Gagi here with a quick recap and update on back issues. Originally, we had lined up 3 back issues released for 2021, but ultimately we decided to use those resources for other projects, both large and small, many of which are captured here in this dev diary. This mode continues to be a favorite of mine to work on and something we hear a lot of positive feedback on, so there are no plans for back issues to cease, just a decrease in velocity compared to 2019 and 2018. Okay, so I mean, there's nothing to really be necessarily hyped about here, so I'm going to mark myself down as neutral on the meter, but I do like this. To be honest with you, I haven't gotten too excited for the back issues for pretty much the same reason that I was just talking about with story content. My favorite back issue was the first one that was ever released. My second favorite was the second one ever released, and ever since they've just been going down in difficulty. And on my main account here, at least, hasn't been exciting since the first back issues, really. I do like the back issues and want to see them continue because other people like them, and they are good for when I do, like, you know, the new account challenges, just opening up the ways I can progress. There's only so much content in the game that you can do when you start a new account, and although the variants, they take a bit to get to, it's technically doable because they're shorter quests and don't have like star level requirements to them. So yeah, as far as I'm concerned, I rather than put resources towards other content compared to the back issues at this point. So it's a good change, but nothing for me to get like too hyped about, right? All right, moving on. Carina's Challenge, Chapter 1. Today, we're exploring some unique ways to challenge those of you at the top of your skill, those that have stared down the abyss and chuckled with your Dr. Doom. Carina's Challenge, Chapter 1 will take Thronebreaker players through some classic fights across the contest with all new restrictions and truly painful challenges to overcome. Carina doesn't kid around. Take on Carina's challenges through a series of permanent solo objectives for some epic rewards, including the brand new catalysts, meaning Tier 3 Alpha and Tier 6 Basic. Plus, for the most dedicated, there will be a unique profile pick on offer for those that can take down all challenges in 30 days. Stay tuned for more challenges in the future. Oh, by the way, Carina's challenges will be live later today. So yeah, this has me pretty hyped, man. I was just talking about how I've been wanting like challenge, I've been wanting difficult content, and I've done some optional challenges, you know, 6.2 item lists, variant 3, variant 4 item lists, and those were fun, but at the end of the day, you don't get anything for it, so it was like hurting my progression overall as much as I enjoyed it. This, however, this is a challenge that's actually going to help progression. And yeah, man, I'm looking forward to it. Looking forward to digging into to those challenges that are going live later today. We'll have to talk more about those challenges once they're live. But yeah, man, they're gonna be interesting. That's for sure. So pretty hyped about that one. All right, Grandmaster's Gauntlet in June. So this is really not far away at all. Got a bunch of 6-star rank 3s going untested. Yeah, I mean, I don't even have that many, but yeah, man, that's what I'm talking about. Need to feel the rush of Abyss or Labyrinth level difficulty again? Now, the time has come for a fresh challenge. The Grandmaster's Gauntlet is a brand new single quest filled with brawls to test only the greatest summoners. 20 challenging fights await Thronebreaker summoners and their greatest champions, with nameless Thanos guarding the final step to your well-earned wares. Once again, hyped. This is the type of content that I'm looking for, man. This is great. It doesn't sound like it's something super grindy. It just sounds like they're lining up some bosses, ready to be taken down, man. So hell yeah, definitely hyped about this. Awesome. All right, let's move on, man. Next up, the Summer of Pain. That's right, this wasn't even the Summer of Pain. We have more challenging content coming. All right, June, it is time. So another thing in June here. The summer is upon us, and the pain will come. We kept you waiting, but now it's time for a collection of truly insane challenges. Every week, running from June through to the end of August, we release a new single standalone fight. These devilish fights will be tough in their own right, but accompanying them will be a collection of brutal solo objectives. Yes, that will test your roster, skill, patience, and the structural integrity of your mobile device as your grip tightens under the stress. Well, I mean, I got an iPhone and it's starting to get a little bit old, so I don't know about the integrity of my mobile device, but I'm pumped for this too, man. Yeah, mark another one down for being hyped. Like, dude, first off, even just going back to the Carina's challenges thing, now we're seeing another set of solo objective challenges here. Like, dude, I've been asking for solo challenges for so long, since before the last roadmaps. When the content got nerfed, I was saying like, yeah, okay, you know, nerf some content, that's fine, make it more accessible, but we need challenge too. And I was saying like, that's only gonna work if there's also some additional challenge in the game. And we didn't have any additional challenge, and the game got boring. So now that we're being hit with some more challenge again, like, you know, I might change my my little meter up here once I actually see the content. You know, if it ends up not being that interesting, or if it's overhyped, or ultra grindy and not well designed or something like that, then maybe I'm not going to be hyped. But for right now, dude, hell yeah, man. Bring on the challenge. Let's go, dude. Moving on to the Prologue initiative. So Kabam is just talking about reworking the first 3 acts, which I think desperately needed. I totally agree here. They're saying they're going to provide real tutorialization of big mechanics, and that's huge, man. MCOC is a tough game to get into, and you know, even though I was talking about, you know, for the end game veteran players, there, you know, is a lack of challenge currently in the game. It's just as big a problem for new players who are trying to get to the point where they can take on some of these challenges. When I first downloaded this game, I didn't know how to parry for like 6 or 7 months. And although, you know, online resources have advanced like crazy since that time, the game itself hasn't really done much. After telling you how to do like a light, medium, heavy, and a special attack, the tutorial's over. You're on your own. So yeah, I think this is really important for new players coming to the game. So I'm gonna go ahead and just mark that as a cool for my meter here. It's interesting though, they're only talking about the first 3 acts, and they even say we'll be shortening the journey through long acts. I'm looking at you, Act 3, where when I think of a long act, I think of Act 4. So maybe that's just out of the scope for right now. Maybe they'll work on Act 4 at a later time. Maybe they want to leave Act 4 large to kind of set the tone for future content beyond that point. I'm not sure exactly what the reasoning is, but definitely interesting, and I'm happy that they're going to be working on that. Okay, moving on to the game modes. Last year we talked a big game about a collection of cool things coming to the contest game modes. We're really happy to say that most of them were delivered on or are now fully in development. I mean, we didn't really get like new game modes. Definitely a lot of quality of life features, but yeah, I would say they're fully in development, sure, but maybe not necessarily delivered on. Anyway, ultimately some things didn't make the cut. They go on to say basically incursions, they're gonna stay the same for the rest of 2021 while they work on other modes. And let's get into what's changing about Alliance War. And I'll tell you guys right now, as we read through this section, my little meter here, we're gonna be going back and forth a little bit. So, June. The war is long and hard as it should be. Settle, no jokes. But for some, this war is becoming weary. We hear you and we have plans. Last time we shared ideas for the future, this time they are reality. The first of which is a wave of quality of life changes to make war less of a slog. Okay, I'm listening. Reducing the stress on players and officers, and more of an adventure. More of an adventure. Okay, we'll see if that is actually the case here. Let's dig into it. The loyalty store. So Alliance War boost can now be purchased weekly with a purchase limit of X. Awesome. Immediately going to cool on that one. The undo button is coming to Alliance War just like it is in AQ. Same thing for the energy costs. Again, awesome, man. We can get more out of our boosts and just finish war in a more timely manner. So that's really big, man. I hate when I have to do, like, the few times that I have to fight bosses. It just sucks having to, like, wake up and mentally prepare yourself first thing in the morning to do a boss fight, man. It just sucks. So that's good. Okay, adjusting top Alliance War tiers. We'll be moving tier 3 to Challenger difficulty, as well as rebalancing the number of alliances in the top 3 tiers. Okay, so Challenger difficulty, they're actually moving it down a tier, so that's good. I think a lot of players outside of, like, the top most competitive, they don't necessarily want an ultra difficult map, the majority at least, so I think that's a good change. There will be new nodes and challenges to face throughout the rest of the year on top of all these incredible changes. So changes to war. We hope to start delivering these with Season 27, which will have an extended off-season prior. Okay. Future. We understand that there are a number of factors affecting how people feel about Alliance Wars, and they differ from tier to tier and alliance to alliance. This is true. We want to address those factors, and to do that, we need to move faster. That's why we've reshaped the way in which our team approaches Alliance Wars and quests. Expect more impactful changes more often. Okay. Slightly skeptical, but I'm not going to move my meter just yet. Let's continue reading on. To start, we'll be looking at Tier 1 wars. We've heard from many summoners that the issues many face are with lack of difficulty, causing even a single death to be the deciding factor in a war, causing stress for every Alliance member. And I would certainly agree with this, but I know some people would not. The problem is, though, I mean, it's not just stress, too. The part of the problem is that it's just not very interesting. I think that a lot of the nodes that we have, you know, some of them are a little bit more modernized, but the boss node, for example, literally hasn't changed, the set of nodes, since the start of war. Some of these nodes just feel outdated. Even when the map has undergone, you know, drastic changes, some of the mini bosses stay the same. Some of the regular nodes, they have kind of inconsequential nodes to them where you just kind of walk through and ignore it. So the map itself, I just think, is kind of boring. And on top of that boringness, yeah, when alliances are only dying a handful of times each, you know, in some wars, it's single-digit death counts when, you know, all 60 members of both alliances combined, less than 10 deaths. It gets pretty crazy, pretty stressful. But if you increase the difficulty, the cost is going to go up, and that's not going to be fun either. So I'm kind of skeptical at what they can even do here for this. But let's read on. Just like our players, we're not satisfied with the state of Alliance Wars, especially in higher tiers. We want to make Alliance War less stressful. We want to reduce officer workload, avoid stagnation, and improve the experience in higher tier wars. We are still exploring our options, and will be consulting members of high tier alliances as we form our plans. Okay, that's pretty cool, man. Pretty psyched at that. As far as I know, I don't think Kabam has ever done this before. They have reached out to people in the past to get some feedback, kind of thing, but I don't think they've necessarily targeted the members of the high tier war alliances. So that's really cool, man. I do think that's going to help out a lot, just understanding what players actually want rather than just going through with something that you know, Kabam thinks is cool. So interesting, but hope to be making strides towards this with every coming season. Okay. 2022. Beyond this year, we're continuing to explore the next big thing for Alliance War. We know how important it is to get it right for you and your alliance, which is why we've opted to take a little longer to explore different ideas that will get the most out of Alliance War and challenge what war stands for in MCOC. So again, I'm kind of flopping back to skeptical on this one because this is what we heard last year. And it's kind of disappointing that I think a lot of us realized that or thought that there weren't a lot of changes going on with war because Kabam was talking about, you know, totally reworking the mode and kind of overhauling it to, you know, fit today's contest. I think that's what that's what I was expecting, at least. And Like these quality of life changes, they're amazing, they're awesome, but it's certainly not what I expected after 9 months or so of kind of waiting. I was expecting to hear a little bit more, so I'm skeptical for that reason, that just because it's the same story we heard in the past. And I'm also skeptical because I've put a lot of thought into what I think I would like to see changed in war, and I've listened to a lot of people share their thoughts, and we've had open discussions about this kind of thing for a while now, and it's not one of those easy subjects where everyone agrees on what needs to be done. And we agree on certain things. I think for the most part people are going to agree with these quality of life changes. For the most part, if you say, yeah, make potions cheaper, which is not being said here, by the way, but if they said that, I think people would agree with that, right? But when it comes to things like improving, like upping the difficulty or upping the challenge, or having higher or lower amounts of coordination, higher or lower amounts of officer involvement, all this stuff, it's really not easy. So on the one hand, I do think Kabam, they should have, they should have had a little bit more to present because of what they said last year. But on the other, like, I understand, man, it's really tough to fix war. It's damn near impossible, which again, even after hearing this for a second time, I mean, I'm very skeptical that it could even be done. So there was a bunch of cool things, a bunch of things that I'm skeptical about. We're just going to go with both and say something's skeptical, something's cool. All right, let's move on, though. I'm going to talk more about Alliance Wars in a different video. I don't want it to put a damper on the rest of the cool stuff in this doc, so let's keep going. All right, solo competitive 2021, it's happening. A brand new game mode is coming to the contest, and our goal is to deliver in 2021. Okay, so I guess it's not like hard set for 2021, their goal, so it could be delayed. Keeping that in mind, okay. Codename is Draft Battles. It's an all-new solo competition that will test your skill, strategy, and cunning against other summoners for the first time, taking early inspiration from 2020's Summoner Showdown event. Okay, so I'm gonna mark myself as neutral so far, because here's the thing. I did not watch the Summoner Showdown. I think it was really cool that Kabam did it. I think it was like an awesome event for the game, and definitely brought some life to the contest for that period of time. But I didn't actually watch it. I wasn't interested enough. I tried to. I tried to, partially just because I didn't want to be left out of what was being talked about. But you'd think that I'm not like ultra competitive in this game, but I am more of a competitive player. And a game that I play all the time, and finally we're getting some more competition. You'd think I'd be all for it. And I was just not that interested, to be honest, in what I was seeing. Maybe part of it was just because I saw Quake was involved, and the Quake fights, they're just so incredibly boring to watch. I don't even consider Quake a champion in this game. There's no contact that's made between Quake and the opponent outside of, every once in a while there's a special circumstance too. But to me, that's not interesting enough. I'm just staring at the screen waiting for something to happen, and nothing ever does. You can close your eyes, you can look away, and you'll know exactly what's going on still. So maybe that's why I wasn't interested. But let's continue reading on here and see if anything else is changed about the event. So, okay, draft battles will feature picks and bans alongside strategic buff choices and a skill-based scoring system that creates a gameplay experience that early testers have said they enjoyed more than anything before in the contest. Okay, I mean, it's definitely bringing some hype to it. Let's read on. Pick and ban champions for your opponent to face off against. Layer on clever buff combinations to outfox your challenger. Interesting. So, layer on clever buff combinations. So in the Summoner Showdown, if I'm not mistaken, I think they just picked the defensive tactics. I don't think they got to pick nodes or buff combinations and things like that. So it's definitely more interesting, I would say. Use the depth of your roster to mix up the meta and create a new winning combination. Put your skills to the test and battle against your opponent's defenders. And rise to the ranks for completely unique rewards to the contest. Okay. Now, they don't mention the rewards here, but later in this doc, we do get to the rewards. And I will say, just because of the completely unique rewards to the contest, it's going to bump it up to a cool for me. I'm not totally stoked on the mode just yet until I get a chance to play it myself. The other concern is just where are we going to fit all this time in to play this mode along with the other stuff going on in the game. So that is a bit of a concern, but yeah, when we get to the unique rewards, incredibly hyped for that. Let's continue on. Alliance Quest. Okay. We had lots of big plans for Alliance Quest going into this year. Let me reset the meter. And have lots to deliver from those plans, but we've pulled back on a few things like quest challenges and seasons. Honestly, totally forgot that these were even things. It's like I'm hearing them for the first time. That's how little I retained from last time when Kabam was talking about Alliance Quest related things. Okay, anyway, to make room for more significant new features and content, here's what's to come on top of all the usual tweaks and tuning. June, officer tools. We've talked a lot about stress in alliances in the past for both war and quest, which we know is too high. For war, we're bringing a whole collection of new quality of life changes as described above. For quest, we're focusing on the officers. Coming in June is the AQ officer tool, a brand new interface that allows alliance officers to plan out an entire cycle of quests at once. Okay, I'm interested. Set up and plan an entire cycle of Alliance quests in one go. Auto start selected maps with all 3 battle groups. Select modifiers and see all the possible rewards from one easy interface. And massive time savings and far simpler planning for Alliance quest. Okay, I mean, that's cool. I'm not an officer, but I'm sure the officers will appreciate it. Something that's relatively small, but just like streamlines the convenience of it. I'm absolutely positive they'll appreciate something like that. So that's cool, man. And then we have fall, map 8 in the fall. Okay. A fresh adventure is coming to Alliance Quest, and those at the bleeding edge of the fight. Map 8 will come to the contest to provide a new way to play AQ that takes inspiration from all the lessons of the past to create something enjoyable, different, and challenging. Now, that I'm skeptical about, though, right there, man. Big time skeptical. What are these lessons? Until these lessons are actually outlined and just laid down, I don't buy it. I really don't buy it, man. When we first got map 7, map 7 brought mixed feelings, I guess. Because when map 7 first released, it was actually pretty fun, like going through the different paths. We had a beta for it, and it was fun trying to figure out like, oh, which champions are going to be best and everything. And then it still ended up being a lot of Corvus, and there was a million linked nodes. They have gotten rid of the linked nodes at this point, so okay, I would say that lesson is learned. Awesome. But like what is new and what is different that's going to be coming to map 8? Maybe they just don't want to make adjustments to map 7, but they do want to somehow limit the Corvus usage, the Corvus timeout thing. So I don't know what's actually going to be. But if they do, like, let's say they did somehow take away like timing out and stuff like that, because of the way bosses are designed, I would say they haven't really learned their lesson about bosses, where a lot of alliances kind of rely on timing out and things like that still. So I'm just very skeptical in general, I guess, when it comes to a new map of AQ. It'll be exciting. It will be a fresh adventure, I'm sure, to some extent at least, for a period of time before AQ gets stale again. But still, man, pretty skeptical about that. So once again, we have like some cool changes and some skeptical things here for AQ for me. All right, let's move on to the arenas, and I will tell you guys right now, we need to crank this meter, dude. Like, hyped is not enough. Like, is there a setting that's higher than hyped? There's not, but This is insanity right here. Let's get into it. All right, so May. What? That's this month. The 6-star arena, it is finally happening, man, and it starts next week. It starts with the newest champion, Shang-Chi, and also Falcon. Wait, what? Also Falcon? How's that gonna work, man? Let me explain. So currently we have 5 different arenas. We have the Summoner Trials, we have the 4-star basic, and then we also have a 3-star, 4-star, and 5-star featured arena. Now, these featured arenas, they're being condensed down to 1 featured arena. Then we're going to have 1 basic arena, and then we're still going to have the Summoner Trials. So those are the 3 arenas. Summoner Trials, a basic, and a featured arena. The 3 and 4 stars are now going to be available as milestone rewards. So whichever champ you're going for, the basic or the featured, you can get the 3 or 4 star just from the milestones. And then the 5 and 6 star versions, they're available as the ranked rewards. There's going to be 100 people getting the 6 star from each of the 2 arenas, and then 100 through 500 is going to get the 5 star, 101 through 500. And it's still going to feel pretty bad if you're that 101 spot. But honestly, this is a pretty good consolation prize just to be given the 5-star version of the champion. If you miss out, at least you have something that you can add to your roster, something that you could play with, as heartbreaking as it still will be. But this is good, man. It's still going to run on the same current 3-day structure that we have today. And now it's just a streamlined system. Don't worry for all you milestone grinders who have no interest in putting in the time to get one of the top prizes. The number of units that you're getting from the milestones, it's actually going up, not by much, but it is a slight increase. So, you know, nothing's going to be taken away from you there. And man, I'm just pumped for this system. So it's 100 people from each of the 2 arenas, and that's going to create such a debate of which champion to grind for. There's going to be some times where a new champion coming out is not going to be very good, and suddenly we find ourselves having, you know, one of the best champs in the basic arena coming up, and that basic champion's actually going to go for higher than the feature champion will. By the way, the basic champion, even when getting like the 6-star version from the basic arena, it's still going to act as a basic champion. It's going to be the blue tinted champion that just gives +1 sig. But if you don't have the champion, that's all you need. You'll get that champion, or you could still awaken them. It's just you can't like stack their sig levels necessarily from the basic arena. So yeah, man, this is really exciting stuff. One kind of odd thing to note here is that the featured and basic arenas, they're going to be locked to players who are uncollected and up. And you're going to be able to use 4 and 6 star champions. That part's normal, but just the fact that they're locked to players who are uncollected is a little bit odd. But they talk further on in this document here about how they're trying to push players to get to uncollected faster these days, especially with all the other revamps they're talking about doing and everything. So we'll have to see how that goes. It's a little bit of an odd thing, but I think it makes sense if they're really trying to push players through story progression. You don't really want them to get too caught up in the arenas system, especially when you don't even have the champions to run through there to get the good prizes. There is going to be a 4-star Nexus as a top prize for the Summoner Trials, the arena that they do have available, so that should help things if they're able to get that. But yeah, that's the only kind of odd thing. And yeah, man, this starts next week, so it's going to be insane trying to figure out what the new champ is going to go for, or even Falcon. Falcon's also a really good champ. Like, dude, what I mean, what are these cutoffs going to look like? No one really knows. It's going to be a total crapshoot, and I'm so pumped for it. And bring back the excitement of like, are you actually grinding for champs or not? And why are you going for this champ versus that champ? Dude, it's what a time to be alive. Totally pumped for the 6-star arena. Moving on to the next subject though, Alliance raids. The battle realm creaks in weary anticipation. The devourer of worlds, the wielder of the infinity gauntlet, the judges of progress. A universe of colossal threats has yet to truly show its power against the combined might of the summoners. Never have we embarked on as enormous a challenge for the contest. Early in development, Alliance raids will form the jewel in the crown of the MCOC endgame experience, providing summoners with threats beyond any scope you have yet to imagine. And their target is 2022. The most epic battles arrive next year. So for this statement sounds pretty confident that it's coming next year, and I believe them, but I still don't really know enough about raids, so I'm just gonna put myself down as neutral on this one. I don't know what raids are gonna be. I did have a question when I first saw this. I was like, more Alliance activities? How is that going to work with, we already have Alliance War and Alliance Quest going on? They didn't go through the details exactly, but they did say something along the lines of, yeah, we've thought of that, we've planned for that. So I don't know what they're gonna do. My first thoughts are, maybe an Alliance raid will take the place of Alliance Quest, and instead of having, like maybe every few rounds of Alliance Quest, maybe you'll unlock the ability to do a raid or something like that. I don't know exactly, but it's important to note that it is a separate thing from Alliance Quest, at least as far as we know. Okay, progression. That was all the awesome new activities we'll get to experience in 2021 and beyond. But what is it all for? What's the chase, Jim? Why should we bring our thumbs to the battle realm? Times they are a-changin'. Let's talk Masteries. Masteries 2.0. New Masteries. The old Mastery list is being overhauled to reduce the amount of useless Masteries to be replaced and added to with brand new gameplay mechanics, tools, and toys to play within content. Dude, I mean, why am I still on neutral? This is hype stuff right here, man. I love Masteries. And yeah, man, a Masteries overhaul is something that I have thought about and put time into, and I have like example work that I've put together and just never released about Mastery overhauls. I could only imagine that what they're talking about here, I mean, they're talking about an entire new system, but they surely must be talking about the Scouter Masteries, because those things are totally useless, absolute garbage. And that'll make room for a lot of new Masteries just in that one section alone. I don't know what they're going to do with like the experience and gold Masteries. Maybe they'll leave those, maybe they'll take them away. I don't know. There's a lot that they can do though. There's going to be loadouts. Switching Masteries is a pain. We know, we do it too. With Masteries 2.0, everyone will get the chance to build Mastery loadouts. They'll make switching between different builds, auto-loading for wars, and generally experimenting with Masteries much easier. Hell yes. A quick note about loadouts, by the way. I think that it'll be a lot more interesting having different Mastery builds if we get more Masteries to play with, other than like, okay, build A is with Suicide Masteries, build B is without Suicide Masteries. I actually don't think that'll be very interesting. So I'm hoping that there's a bunch of variety to play with the new Masteries, and then the loadouts will actually be that much more interesting too. Okay, more flexibility. Our goal with the new system is to make Masteries more flexible. Through loadouts and new Masteries, you have more room to experiment as we originally intended. Awesome. Our ambition was to land Masteries 2.0 in 2021. However, on our current trajectory, this may be a little too ambitious, with 22 as more realistic. We have a lot planned, and the next item is coming first. Okay, so hopefully, before we get to the next item, which, sneaking in there, hopefully it's not going to be too late in 2022. But just the fact that they're like officially commenting on it and stuff like that, and what their plans are, yeah, I'm very hyped for that. All right, let's reset the meter here real quick. But it's probably going to go straight back to hyped. You know what, dude? Just seeing this word, I've made videos about this. I've been asking for it for years, man. And originally, okay, so Relics, this is like an item system coming to MCOC. And originally, players were not too there was an item system planned for this game. And it essentially got scrapped or put on hold, I guess, if it's finally coming, because of the events of 12.0. And people did not want to see an item system because champions had just got nerfed, and a lot of people didn't want to see champions nerfed, and then Kabam essentially sell them back that power that they just took away from the top champions. And I don't think that that's a fear anymore after Kabam has buffed the hell out of a lot of champions, with seemingly no plans to nerf any champions at least. And now we're getting items to make our champions even stronger. Okay, so 2021, it's happening this year. Power, the great divider. Power is what we all seek in this contest of champions. And in 2021, we aim to grow that power. Relics are coming. Relics are all new cores of power that provide individual champions with the ability to apply custom buffs to their kits. Individual relics act as vessels for a collection of new buffs with a host of unique abilities tied to each one. For the first time, you'll be able to apply collectible mastery-like buffs to individual champions. Now, the only concern that I have about this is I think that this system would have worked much better years ago when all of our champions weren't so complicated. These days, the champion descriptions, they're quite long. And in addition to just being, to be totally honest, kind of annoying to read through when there's 200 champions and each one is you know, each one might only be like an actual page long in a book or something like that. But now we're talking about, you know, reading an entire 200-page book and rereading it and then reading more for the longer nodes and stuff like that. This game is more reading them than playing at some points, it feels like. So not only is that part a little bit annoying that there's going to be even more to like read and understand, I'm also just concerned, like some champions, it already feels like they have it all. What can you really add to some of these champs? So it'll be interesting to see what Kabam actually comes up with for it. That's my only slight concern about this. Let's read on though. Summoners will initially find relics in the new solo competitive mode before slowly rolled out as rewards across other modes in the game. Okay, so it's going to be exclusive to the solo competitive mode. Very interesting. At launch, you'll be able to use your relics and their power in solo competitive and a few other modes / content before we roll it out across the entire game after launch. Wait. This is slightly contradictory here. It says, I mean, I guess they're saying you could only get them in solo competitive mode, but you'll be able to use them in other modes? Okay, all right, I understand. Collect relics, unique objects with different slots that offer new power and mastery-like buffs to individual champions. Customize your MCOC. Upgrade relics to house more buffs and allow higher quality buffs to be equipped. Discover more powerful buffs and create the perfect relic build for your favorite individual champions. Pumped for this, man, I really am. I've been missing like the element of strategy for a while now in this game, where content has been stagnant. We're not able to really target champions to get. Everything's just RNG, and dude, RNG is fun, but like it does at some point take away from the strategic elements to this game. So now we have strategy back in the arena. There's going to be harder content to try to figure out how to beat that, and now customizing our champions. Dude, this game is just taken to the next level. Okay, and then assign strikers. Learn more about what and how strikers below. Okay. So strikers, we did hear about this last year. Yep. This year, you'll get to play it. Okay. The jewel and the crown of the relic system. Strikers will be the top tier equipables that you can apply to relics. So that's what the items are going to be, or at least part of the items. You're going to be able to essentially equip like an ally, a teammate. Okay. They provide access to unique abilities that will help cover your weaknesses or enhance your strengths. Okay. Strikers. Collect strikers and combine them with other buff effects to create insanely powerful relics to assist your champions in combat. Direct impact. Intercept attacks. Give yourself a breather, or just lay the smack down with the special attacks of a bonus champion alongside your current champion. And new strategy, unlock all new combinations of champion attacks to create new solutions to old problems and even ones for the future. Very, very interesting stuff. Maybe this is why they delayed the system. Maybe they thought it wasn't interesting enough, and maybe they just wanted to really put it over the top with strikers. I don't know what to think about all this other than just, yeah, man, I'm really excited for this type of system. I've been asking for it for a very long time. I feel like this might be a polarizing topic because I have a feeling not everyone's going to be on board with relics. And I'll tell you right now, there is a slight skepticism to it, as much as I'm hyped for it. Item systems can sometimes make or break games. And if it's a good item system, it's really going to add a lot to the contest. And if it's not, if Kabam hasn't thought it out well enough, it's, it could actually be a bad thing for the game too, of course. But in general, man, I think they have to do something. Instead of just adding another star to the champions that we're collecting, they have to add some other kind of, new mechanics and new ways to obtain power in this game. So it spices things up, and at this point, we just need things to be spiced up. So I'm really pumped for it. Okay, moving on. Let's reset the meter here. All right, roster. On top of the epic new paths of progression above, we're bringing a collection of improvements to the Worlds of Champion and Signature Stone acquisition across 2021. You have my interest, Kabam. Here's the skinny on a few of the big hitters from Kabam Kamish. Kamish, good guy, as long as he keeps his hands off of my egg collection. All right, anyway, acceleration of the collected. As mentioned above in the Prologue initiative, we're changing the progression of the collected, mostly by accelerating them to uncollected. The change in content needs to be matched with the change in economy for those early game players, and you'll see signs of this all throughout the rest of the year. It has already begun. Okay, so they're kind of moving ahead, and I'm going to skip ahead through some of this stuff. They're saying no Thronebreaker crystals yet because they didn't feel as appropriate because of just the star level differentiation here. They're saying uncollected, which is basically 4 stars and getting into 5 stars. Cavalier is basically 5 stars getting into 6 stars. And Thronebreaker, it's not the end of 6 stars, so they didn't feel a need to add Thronebreaker crystals. But there is, the Grandmaster crystals are now available to players who have not achieved uncollected yet. They already increased the drop rates for Cav crystals. And as far as Sig Stones goes, let's see what this actually says here. Right off the bat, I'm skeptical. Let's see. Signature Stones at the highest rarity are always going to be rare for a long time. 6-star Awakening Gems and Signature Stones take away from the value of dupes and the value of opening crystals. But we also understand the value of being able to specifically target a champion to awaken and increase the Sig level is huge for player agency. The balance is how quickly we want to run through 6 stars, not too quickly, and get into what comes next. 7 stars? Question mark. So we're not in any particular hurry to increase the amount of stones too much. That being said, we have heard the concerns of stones in offers versus in content or earned. We've been adding 6-star signature stones in monthly event rewards, stones in Act 7 rewards, stones in incursion rewards, and an upcoming Thronebreaker challenging content. We'll continue to monitor the overall balance of stones throughout 2021. I mean, this is true. They have increased the availability of Sig stones, and if it was like this from the start, then maybe we wouldn't be in the situation we are in now. But I'd say the situation we're in now is still a pretty garbage one. But yeah, it'll improve over time. So, okay, fair enough, I suppose. I'll put myself to neutral, I guess. The Wish Crystal, this is just talking about that it's basically being bumped back. No ETA at this time. And let's talk finally about Project Genesis here. So, in 2021 and possibly beyond, as Marvel Contest of Champions quickly approaches the ripe old age of 7, we need to give the beast some tune-ups to make it worthy of the decade. Project Genesis is a game-wide modernization initiative that will update, refresh, and rework huge parts of the contest, bringing it up to the standard you and we expect it to be in 2021. Load times will be drastically reducing and all out removing load times between many screens across the game. Mark me down for skeptical right off the bat. Dude, I would love if that's true, but I'm very skeptical. All right, refreshed UI. The entire visual style of the contest is going to get a facelift to bring out its true beauty and make the game feel of this time, not its time. Put me down for neutral for that one. I don't know until we see like the final product, you know. Improved map. The quest map will get a big upgrade to make it smoother, faster, and potentially add new ways to interact. Okay, I've been asking for map interaction for a while, so bump that one up to cool, actually. UI usability. Okay, they're just talking about improving the UI a little bit. Project Genesis is an ongoing initiative that will take effect over time, so expect to see performance improvements, new visuals, and refreshed UI layouts in the coming months and years. Again, just because of the performance improvements, skeptical. We'll see what happens, though. Okay, and that is gonna do it. That is the final thing here. They're kind of ending off the same way they did last time, basically saying the contest is here to stay, not as an aging relic or content service, but as a game full of exciting new experiences, an ever-growing community, and a platform for competition. We've loved the last 6 years of stories, and it is our commitment to make the next 6 even greater. So, man, whoa, there's so much stuff going on. Overall, I mean, the only thing that was bad was the terrible joke at the start. There were definitely some things that I was and still am skeptical about all of this. But overall, like, dude, there's so much to discuss here. It really brings just a totally new level of hype to the game, and yeah, I couldn't be happier right now. That Kabam is, you know, delivering on some of this stuff immediately, promising some of it for like before the year is over, and then just talking about what they have plans for next year, and it sounds really good. A lot of it sounds really good. So yeah, man, even just the arena change starting next week, that's gonna change the game for me. So yeah, man, I'm pumped about all this. Put me down for overall just, you know, hyped. So yeah, man, you guys will have to let me know what you think about all this. And we'll of course discuss it throughout live streams and stuff like that. So yeah, tune in tonight and we'll dig right in. We'll keep talking about it. But that'll do it for this one. Thank you all very much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Take care.